How are you?
I've been spending a lot of time praying and reading the Bible. They got me a Bible in here, so I'm in solitary, so I'm only...
There's a brand new jailhouse phone call in the Joseph Duggar criminal case. We're going to analyze it, break it down, understand it 2 days after his arrest on child sex crimes charges. He apparently called his wife Kendra, who is also facing her own criminal charges in Arkansas. So we're going to go into what they said to each other, what it reveals, maybe what it doesn't reveal, and how it plays into the overall context of this case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Real quick, I gotta tell you about this app, this sponsor. I think you're gonna love it. It is called Upside, okay? Upside gets you cash back. Yes, extra cash back on everyday purchases like gas, groceries, takeout. So here's what you do. You download Upside for free. You claim an offer at one of their 100,000 plus locations. You pay like normal with your card. You verify the purchase, and just like that, money back. So say I need to get gas or I want takeout one night, I'll search for Upside offers first. And after I spend, money appears in my app that I can then transfer right into my bank account. And Upside's frequent users, they earn an average of $254 back a year. So to start getting your cash back, click the link in the description or scan the QR code. Use promo code SIDEBAR to get an extra 25 cents bonus on every gallon on your first tank of gas. New development in the criminal cases involving two members of the famous Duggar family. We're talking about this jailhouse phone call that we want to break down, where Kendra and Joseph seem to be speaking on the phone while Joseph was locked up at the Washington County Detention Facility in Arkansas. I want to go through this latest call, what it means in terms of the pair's overall criminal cases, try to understand it. Now, Joseph reportedly called Kendra at 8:11 p.m. on March 20th. This is according to People. And remember, this is 2 days after he was arrested on March 18th on accusations that he sexually molested a 9-year-old girl back in 2020 out in Florida. But you know why that date is important, why March 20th is important, because that was the day that both Joseph and Kendra were charged in Arkansas. 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor in the second degree, and 4 counts of false imprisonment. They have 4 kids together. She was released on bond. He kept being locked up based on the Florida charges. So the timing there is key, and we believe that based on the Florida charges, right, there must have been some sort of warrant that furthered an investigation to see what was happening at their family home. In fact, the Tontitown police said on Facebook on the 20th, as a result of the continuing investigation, additional charges have been filed in this case against Joseph Duggar, age 31, and Kendra Duggar, age 27. Arrest warrants have been issued and served for the following misdemeanor offenses through district court. Misdemeanor, not a felony, lower level offense. Sometimes you're basically saying max 1 year in jail. So here you have 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, second degree, 4 counts of false imprisonment, second degree. And it said this remains an active and ongoing investigation. Arkansas law strictly limits the information that may be released in cases involving minors and other sensitive circumstances to protect the integrity of the investigation and the privacy of those involved. No further details will be provided at this time. And we don't have further details about these charges in Arkansas, what precipitated them. There is an alleged source that was apparently close to the family that told People magazine, that it had to do with locks on the kids' doors. Quote, I can tell you the arrest was a result of a home inspection and the door locks being on the exterior of the doors. That person also said that what Kendra is being charged with is totally unrelated to the felony charges that Joseph faces in Florida, saying, quote, she's not suspected or accused of participating in his alleged crime. And to be clear, we don't really know if it's about the locks or not. Authorities haven't said that. You heard them make the point about this being a sensitive investigation. While these Arkansas charges they both face are misdemeanors and Kendra is due back in court April 29th, Joseph remains in custody. Now, he was awaiting extradition on the more serious felony charges, okay, again in Florida, lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim, lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim less than 12 years old, and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted by a person 18 years or older. This is per the Bay County Sheriff's Office, again in Florida. I'm going to get a little bit more into his case, but again, we're talking about the phone call, okay? Before I even get into the phone call, the significance of the phone call, what was said on the phone call, let me put it into the timeline for you so you understand where it fits, okay? March 18th, we have this video from Washington County. Kind of gives us a bird's eye view of Joseph Duggar getting booked, the angles of the officers searching him, getting his information into the jail system.
Anything on you in the city in front of you?
No,
And your pockets, what do you have that's missing?
no, nothing at all.
Oh,
Sorry, I thought you said if I had anything on me.
You said not in my pockets. I mean,
Yeah.
I needed
No,
you got
no,
somewhere
no.
else. Here, take it back. All right.
Nothing at all.
Any injuries?
No.
Well, I don't have anything to trade you.
You been here before?
No, not that. I think I got my brother went to school for getting police staff training.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got pepper sprayed out over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that name?
Duggar. He was gone before or something.
You just doing training here?
Yes. He did part-time in Town.
All right, remember, let's look and put it on the wall for you, okay? What's your warrant for? And that's fine, so you know if I need to put your baby on the
What's that? Say again?
Just didn't know what kind of job it was.
I'm not exactly sure. It's like,
You don't have to tell me anything else?
yeah, just today.
I'm going with that, okay?
Yeah. I like different.
Want to talk, sometimes we don't. I'll be there. I'm with you.
No, just keep it filled. Like, you can give me a lollipop with bill.
All right, hands behind your back, let's see on that bench right there. All right.
Then you go to March 20th. So reportedly 2 hours after Kendra was booked and released on bond for the Arkansas charges, there is this phone call. Now apparently, according to people, she had missed the first 2 phone calls from Joseph, and they reportedly didn't see each other when Kendra was booked. But now you have the phone call. Let's play a portion of it.
How are you?
I'm all right. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time praying and reading the Bible. They got me a Bible in here, so I'm in solitary. So I'm only.
Yeah.
I'm in the cell for 23 hours of the day. So, but
Really?
yeah. So it's like a 8 by 10 area, pretty small area, but I've been able to
Wow.
read a lot. I actually been resting some, but not sleeping great through the night. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Aw.
but it's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you.
They also apparently talk about how Joseph is going to sign over belongings that he had with him when he was booked so that Kendra can get a hold of them. But then there's this part.
Did you hear that I'm out here with, did you hear where I'm at and everything?
I don't know. Should we say it?
I think that'll, well, I don't know. Maybe not. But they've got me a good place to stay that's very private.
Oh, praise the Lord. I'm happy about that.
So,
I was hoping.
yeah, and they're taking,
Well, I'm just.
so you're doing okay?
I'm trying to keep my spirits up, and I feel like reading the Bible has really been helpful to calm and not think about all the situations. So it's been uplifting. So
Oh, that's good to hear.
this one that I got, it's like some other NLT version or something like that, but it has a devotional in it that has some really good stuff. So.
Okay, that's all we currently have from the phone call. I don't know if there's more, but here's what I will tell you. I didn't hear anything about their kids, which again may be related to the Arkansas misdemeanor charges, although you can arguably hear children in the background, which I'll talk about. But it is interesting there, when you, generally speaking, no discussion of their criminal cases as far as we can see, as far as we can hear. And you hear them be kind of cautious at one point about what they're saying. Not surprising, because there is usually a message before a jailhouse call that indicates that it's being recorded, and we all know how many times recorded jailhouse phone calls. Nonetheless, you have criminal defendants who say things on them. And we all know that despite those messages, defendants say things. And those jailhouse phone calls, time and time again, have been used, have been admitted as evidence at trial in one way or another. So not surprising that they don't talk about the substance, the content of their cases or the charges or the allegations. It's interesting, given the gravity of his charges in Florida, too, the way she's talking, right? I mean, it seems like she says awe at one point, given his current situation or about his current situation, appears to be kind of kind to him, maybe even sympathetic, right? Not refusing to take his call, not accusing him of anything, not angry. Just my outside perspective on this, my opinion. And in a minute, I'm going to compare that to other family members' reactions. Now, in terms of where she's staying, remember there was that part in the call? People is reporting that Kendra is staying at a private residence with her children after being released. And remember, authorities reportedly searched that home that stemmed from those charges. So I don't know if she's still at the private residence, if she's back at the home, not entirely clear. But if I'm right that I hear children in the background, it would be interesting that she has her children, right? Because many times the children would be taken away, but maybe that's not the circumstances here. But again, I think you can kind of hear children in the background. Maybe, I could be wrong. Now, as far as the solitary confinement portion of the phone call, maybe not surprising given his relative high-profile status, and you want to keep him isolated, you want to keep him protected, particularly given the allegations that he's facing. Unless, of course, there were issues of bad behavior, but no reporting, no evidence to suggest that. Now, I did look into the Washington County Detention Center a little bit, and here are some stats just to keep in mind. As of January 1st, 2026, almost 700 inmate population with only a recommended capacity of 568, by the way. Average age of the detainees, 37, mostly white males. Kind of gives you an idea of where he was. I say was because according to People, Joseph has been transferred out of that Arkansas detention facility. The Washington County Sheriff's Office tells People that Joseph is no longer in their custody. We know he waived extradition. Is it possible that it's now happening where he's being brought over to Florida? We'll see. That mention to the Bible, okay? I got to call out the Bible aspect of this. So I'm going to have an interview in a little bit that I want to show you where we talk about what we can expect regarding this case, including, by the way, as we're talking about Joseph and Kendra, will she testify against him? Is that a possibility? Before I even go into the Bible, let me just go back to what the allegations are here, okay? So the Sheriff's Office said in a statement, quote, on March 18th, 2026, Bay County investigators were contacted by a detective with the Tontatown Police Department regarding a report of past sexual abuse. The 14-year-old victim participated in a forensic interview where she disclosed several incidents involving Duggar that occurred during a family vacation in Panama City Beach when she was 9 years old. According to the investigation, the incidents took place in 2020 while the family was staying at a residence on Danny Drive. The victim reported Duggar repeatedly asked her to sit on his lap. As the vacation continued, he also asked her to sit next to him on a couch and covered them with a blanket. During this time, Duggar manipulated the victim's underwear and grazed her genitals. Duggar would also continue to rub his hands on her thighs. The victim stated Duggar eventually apologized for his actions, and the incident stopped after the apology. Investigators discovered the victim's father confronted Duggar about these incidents on March 17, 2026. Duggar admitted his actions to the victim's father and to Tontatown detectives. Duggar was arrested out of state and charged with lewd and lascivious behavior. I mentioned those two different counts. And then it said Duggar is currently awaiting extradition to Bay County. Now, and regarding that alleged admission, according to the affidavit, Joseph also allegedly, quote, admitted his intentions were not pure. Very important for intent purposes when you talk about these criminal charges. By the way, when you look at how Kendra acted on that call and given these allegations, compare that to other family members' reactions. I'll give you an idea. So Joseph's cousin, Amy Duggar, told People, I am sickened, heartbroken, and deeply angry. My first thoughts are with the victim, a child who deserved to be safe, protected, and surrounded by people she could trust. His sister, Juliana Duggar, What has come out about my brother is heartbreaking and deeply disturbing. My heart is with the victim, and I am grieved by the pain and harm caused. Joseph's older sister, Jill Duggar, said on the blog she shares with her husband that they were shocked and heartbroken. We support the rule of law and hope that justice will be achieved. Joseph's younger brother, Jason Duggar, took to Instagram, writing that he was, quote, disgusted by the allegations facing his brother. Our hearts are burdened because a child's life has now turned upside down. So at this point, I have to be clear, these are just allegations against Joseph and Kendra, by the way. They have not been proven guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. But again, I think it's interesting looking at the family's reaction to this versus the way you heard Kendra speak to her husband. And we don't know what Kendra knows or doesn't know, and why she's saying the things that she's saying, and maybe wants to support her husband through this. Again, I don't know full details. I'm just playing the call. Now, I want to go back to that Bible reference on the call. So we know that Joseph, along with his siblings, were the stars of the TLC show 19 Kids and Counting. And after the show was canceled, Joseph had earned his real estate license. He enrolled at Crown Bible College, eventually went into the family's construction business, married Kendra 2017, had 4 kids. Now, the Bible reference. I can't say for sure what the religious beliefs of Joseph and Kendra currently are at this moment in time, but if anyone watched the show, you know religion was a big part. That show, beginning in 2008, was all about conservative Christian family life, homeschooling, specialized outfits. Amazon Prime released a documentary. It was called Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets. One of the things that the documentary focused on was the teachings that motivated or guided this family. IBLP, Institute in Basic Life Principles. It was led by a man named Bill Gothard, who, by the way, he himself has been accused of sexually harassing and assaulting dozens of women. He's denied the allegations. But Gothard preached to millions about this male-dominated life, living a strict lifestyle where you abandon vices like music and TV and dating and drinking. And the key here in the documentary from the co-director, Olivia Christ, said the Duggars were, quote, the front-facing image of this insidious organization. So this documentary really focused on fundamental Christianity, homeschooling, cruel forms of punishing children, how others speak out about the teachings, that the Duggars were used as a way to normalize or clean up what the lifestyle was like. So again, the reference to him reading the Bible, just to put it into context. Now, I mentioned this interview that I did. I spoke at one point to former Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Arenberg about the different cases, right, different jurisdictions, whether Kendra plays a role, whether she will testify against him. After this phone call now, I don't know exactly know, but I spoke to him before this phone call was released. And also, by the way, what a possible defense here could be. Take a look. How did the Florida and Arkansas cases play off one another? What is the coordination? What is the overlapping in evidence, or are they separate?
Well, the defendant here, he waived extradition so that he will be sent back to Florida, but it would be automatic. I mean, even if he fought extradition from Arkansas to Florida for the Florida charges of molestation, you would lose. That's a losing battle. Unless you can show that they've got it wrong, that it's not the right person, false identity. But if it's you and Florida wants you to stand trial on serious felonies, you're going to get extradited. Now, it's different from misdemeanors. They're not going to break down your door and grab you to bring you back for misdemeanors. But states work together. There are compacts that allow the states to seamlessly send people back and forth. It's much harder if it's a foreign country. That's when you get non-extradition and you get a lot of bureaucratic red tape. But when it comes to states, it's not that hard.
First question I have is, when would we learn more information about what supports these allegations, the specifics of it? I don't know if it's complicated because you are dealing with children. And B, is there anything about her case that could affect what's happening with her husband? You know, typically I would say in a case, if 2 people are being charged and one is facing lesser charges than the other, would there be some sort of deal that's worked out where they would testify against the other? But this is complicated by the fact, married, 2 different circumstances. She's facing misdemeanor charges. There's always a spousal privilege. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just trying to think about some ways this might play out. And to be clear, both of them are innocent until proven guilty.
Correct. And you're also correct in bringing up spousal privilege, because that makes it very difficult to leverage one spouse against the other. That, I think, is probably a non-starter. Now, it is telling, though, that Kendra's charges are a lot less than her husband's. At the same time, they may not need Kendra because they've got apparently the cooperation of the victim's family in the husband's case. Now, could Kendra try to cut a deal to save herself? Yes, but because of spousal privilege, which can be invoked by either party, it is very difficult to get her to testify against her husband.
Well, how does a defense attorney fight back against that? I mean, I'm assuming there's a recording of the interview, but also if there was an admission to, law enforcement and also the father, right, of this minor victim or alleged victim, how does a defense attorney work around that?
Well, defense attorneys get paid a lot of money to be creative, especially when you have deep pockets. And so I think he's got a private lawyer, not a public defender, although public defenders do good jobs. But what they'll do is they'll just try to poke holes in it. I've heard in cases like this where they try to go into the origins of the recording, saying it was improperly recorded. And then if that fails, they'll try to say, well, it's taken out of context. And then they'll say, well, maybe he was joking. And then they'll try to just overcome it by finding other holes in the case. Because when it comes to reasonable doubt, if they can poke a hole in one piece of evidence, they can just rely on that and harp on that. Well, look, you have the recording, but there's this other piece of evidence that you should focus on that is faulty, and because of that, that's your reasonable doubt. But I think that the main argument for the defense is going to be that Joseph was pressured by the victim's father, so he felt religiously obligated to admit something that actually wasn't a crime under Florida law. So they're going to say coercion here. So they're going to lean into a motion to suppress, saying that the police didn't follow proper procedure and that the confession was coerced. But man, that's hard. It's an uphill climb. That's one thing that defense lawyers always try to do, but it doesn't succeed very often.
Okay, we'll see what happens next in the Duggar story. We'll make sure to stay on top of it. But as always, thank you so much for joining us here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.